education, employment, entrepreneurs, and economic development, or Tech for Ed project. Tech for Ed aims to establish centers that cater to areas with minimal or no access to ICT, providing them with services and contents on education, skills training, and various government services. These centers have access to the Tech for Ed platform, offering content such as e-Edu Skills, delivers e-learning on demand. E-Assist provides modules for skills development. E-Marketplace allows greater market reach for businesses. 𝒘𝒆𝒃𝒊𝒏𝒈 provides direct government services to rural areas. 𝒂𝒑 offers contents on agriculture technologies. eHealth gives access to basic health information. Rural Impact Sourcing provides learning materials to acquire knowledge and skills for online jobs. And Gender and Development offers modules for women empowerment. Tech for Ed centers serve as hubs that enable skills training and job opportunities.
This program helped me by finding a job and, of course, gaining more confidence as well. I was able to gain knowledge about the BPOs, on how does the environment work.
As of now, as I work the call center agent, so I see that difference because as of now I'm earning more than I have earned before as a tricycle driver.
Tech for Ed empowers overseas Filipino workers to explore online jobs to support their family.
With the emergence of the Tech for Ed centers here in the Philippines, we were the very first to have the Tech for Ed centers here.
Bali, ang pinakamalaking impact po ng Tech for Ed sa buhay ko ay yung time para sa aking family. Ngayon, ang time ko sa kanila is buong-buo na. Hindi na siya yung typical na 21 days in a year lang, na mas marami pa yung oras ko sa abroad na hindi kasama sila.
Tech for Ed helps transform the lives of the marginalized sectors.
Siguro, iisipin na lang nila parang training na din sa kanila, additional skills po sa kanila. So, para paglabas po nila, magagamit din po nila sa pagbabagong buhay po nila.
Para sa akin, ang Tech for Ed ay mai-ignite ko sa isang salitang pag-asa. Pag-asa para sa aking sarili, pag-asa na makapanibagong buhay, pag-asa na mabigyan ako ng pagkakataong mabago ang pananaw ko sa aking sarili, pag-asa upang makatagpo po ng trabaho, pag-asa na makapagbigay karunungan sa aking mga kapwa PDLs ko dito po.
DICT will uphold its mandates to develop plans and programs that ensure universal access to ICT services, infrastructure, and spearhead initiatives for countryside development. Through the Tech for Ed project that strives to nurture the welfare of the people and to enable, empower, and transform the quality of life of the Filipinos.
Good morning, everyone. Before anything else, let us all offer a prayer for God to guide us during the webinar and for the rest of the day.
Dear God, thank you for the opportunity to meet together. Please help us to come together to make this institution reflect your kingdom. Breathe life into our ideas and decisions. Help us build a team that has love and respect at its heart. Give us the strength to continue working for your kingdom in this time of pandemic. Lord, Come, give us the inspiration to be the best we can be. May we be a shining example of your goodness and truth within, wherever we are. Inspire our thoughts, discussions, and ideas, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth for the greater glory of you. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Happy Friday to everyone who is here with us in Zoom and everyone who is listening and watching via our Facebook Live. We wanted to thank you all for joining us today and giving us your time. I am very sure that this will be worth your wait. I also wanted to thank the Tech4Ed team who made this possible and who is also here with us today. Ma'am Rana, good morning. Ma'am Roma, Miss Riza, Sir Carlo, our new member, Sir Mark, our very own Technical Operations Division Chief, Mr. Petronilo, and of course, yours truly, Nina. To welcome us, I am very proud to introduce our DICT Luzon Cluster 2 Regional Director, Engineer Reynaldo TC.
Good morning, everyone. In behalf of the DICT Luzon Cluster 2, we wish to welcome all of you in today's webinar on Networking 101, Basic Campus Design Concept. Being connected in the internet has become our way of life, especially in this time of pandemic. Students as well as faculties were forced to stay at home and do everything online. Online schooling, online enrollment, online discussion, and online meetups and other online activities. This put so much emphasis on the network and internet. Thus, we need to maximize the use of internet to an efficient home and campus network. This will be tackled in our webinar today, the basic networking or Networking 101. The webinar will discuss the different kind of network topology, network medium, available active network devices, and some technical parameters to consider in setting up basic design on home or campus network. We hope that through this webinar, we could help you freshen up your networking skills and help maximize your internet network. Lastly, thank you to our Tech4Ed team and most especially to our resource person, Ms. 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒈, for accommodating our request to conduct this webinar. Again, good morning and keep safe, everyone.
Yun. Thank you, Sir Ray. So I hope everyone is ready now with additional skills or knowledge that you will learn today as I am about to introduce to you Ma'am 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒈. Ma'am Gamila is an IT instructor and network engineer. She graduated as Dean's Lister in Bachelor of Science in Information Technology in Central Luzon State University last April 2009. Then continued her study in Masteral in Information Technology in Tarlac State University last January 2018. She already has attended several seminars to which includes International Research Conference on IT Education, Professional Education Crash Course, International Academic R&D Festival, and many more. With her professional experience as an IT instructor in Central Luzon State University and technical support in BitStop Network Services, she gained an expertise in handling different computer software platforms, LAN and wireless connection, Cisco device layer 2 and 3 switching, databases like MySQL and MS Access. Ms. Gamila was also certified with Civil Service Eligibility and Microsoft Technology Specialist. So, I won't holding it out any longer. Everyone, welcome to Networking 101 Basic Campus Design Concept with Ma'am 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒈. Ma'am 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒈, good morning.
Good morning po. Good morning sa ating lahat. Thank you, ma'am, for inviting me here in the it is a privilege to become a speaker of, and I hope that I can impart knowledge to everyone and also to have also your sharing of knowledge between us and between the mga participants po natin for today. So let's start with our topic. Share.
Okay, Ma'am Gamila, the floor is now yours.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So yes, share. So good morning po sa ating lahat. So this topic is about the basic campus design concepts. This will include the idea on how to start. So it also includes if nag-i-start ka pa lang or balak mo mag-start to design a campus design and at network, I do hope that I can give some expertise and knowledge or a review for the networking and yung mga IT po, whether you are a student or professional. So I do hope that we can refresh our knowledge regarding networking. And also, if you are planning to redesign or having an improvement to your network, especially today na wala masyado pumapasok na student ngayon sa campus po natin. So maybe this is a positive way na we can recreate and we can check our network. So for the objective of the topic for today, it is to identify the steps in building campus network, understanding and the challenges and scenarios in designing the network, and identify the basic components. So sabi ko nga pa, if you are already have the design of your network, that is okay, and I'm happy na makikita natin or we can share knowledge to each other, especially mamaya sa question and answer. And road to build a campus network. So I will discuss some ways on how to start to build your own campus network. Whether you are having an existing or nagsisimula ka pa lang, this is how we build our own campus network. So this is based on my experience. So some of the ways is depende din sa kung saan kayo nadadalian or kung saan po kayo nadadalian. But here, this is based on our experience when we build our own campus network in our university. So we will tackle each part of this process kung paano natin siya or kung paano namin siya ginagawa. So first is budgetary plan. So why do we need to know what's our budget? So remember, in a government, alam po natin na hindi naman lahat is meron agad budget. So it takes time, or a network infrastructure will take a lot of budget. So hindi natin agad-agad siya mapapolish. But if you have an unlimited budget, that is okay. But like me, in our government, sometimes kailangan hati-hatiin natin yung plan natin. So we need to understand kung ano yung budget na nakaalat dun sa ating network infrastructure. Knowing the budgetary plan includes the priorities. We know the priorities na pwede nating ilagay kung sino yung uunahin natin or kung anong building yung uunahin natin. It also includes the checking and finalizing the needed device, such as ano yung makita natin or makikita natin na mga existing device para makita natin kung isasama pa natin siya sa budget. So based in the study of the network infrastructure cost, it is from 2020. So kung mapapansin po natin, cabling systems or nakukuha niya yung 61% of our budget. Okay, so it includes yung mga paglalatag ng mga cable natin. When it comes to network infrastructure, malaki yung kinakain niya. Another one is for the core infrastructure. Sa core infrastructure natin, ayan yung mga fiber natin, kung saan natin i-connect yung each building na meron sa ating campus. Telecommunication rooms is also important. So bakit kaya kailangan natin ng mga telecommunication room? In order for us to manage our network or for security also, na meron tayong isang telecommunication room kung nasaan yung mga devices na hinahandle natin ay nandoon lang po. And it's much easier to have a security kung meron tayong isang part lang ng telecommunication room. Another one is for the network electronics. Kaya yung mga devices natin, kasama na po dyan, yun yung most or usually na meron dun sa ating budgetary plan. Okay? So yung mga, whether you are in a government or in a private, it's very important yung budget natin. Then site survey. Okay, so if you have your budget or if tayo po ay katulad namin na you need to design or lahat ng or yung mga gagamitin mo, ikaw ang magde-design and then ililista natin yung mga devices na kailangan nating bilhin, we need to have a site survey. Okay, site survey, and through the site survey, makikita natin kung ano yung mga situation na meron dun sa campus, buildings na i-connect, and kung saan dadaan yung mga cable natin. Okay, matrabaho siya since, for example, in our university, na so medyo malaki kung nadaan na po kayo sa CLSU. So masyadong malaki po yung university namin and layo-layo talaga yung mga buildings. Yung iba is nandun pa po sa kabilang road. So we need to understand kung ano yung mga sites na yon, kung saan dadaan yung mga cable natin in order for us to plan kung gaano kadami or kahaba yung mga fiber. Ayan. So, very exciting part yung site survey kasi in a way din na makikita natin kung ano yung current situation. So, through site survey natin, do we need to reconstruct it or pwede naman nating ayusin lang in order for us to limit the budget also. And when we have the site survey, inventory of existing equipment is a must. Okay. If you have a good list of your equipment, that is okay. Maganda po yan. But if hindi masyadong na-update, it's time na mag-inventory po tayo ng mga device natin. So why do we need to inventory or to have an inventory in our device? So one is, syempre, so para bumabalik ako sa budget, is to know kung ano yung mga need na i-prioritize na mga equipment. Another one is for the compatibility issues. Okay, so if we know kung ano yung mga existing, maybe we can make sure natin na yung bibilin natin na mga devices is compatible dun sa mga existing. So we are, based on our experience, is sometimes kahit na medyo magka-parehas or medyo nag-upgrade yung mga device, there are some problems na na-encounter namin. So maganda na simula pa lang, nakikita natin or we can search or we can ask your vendor kung okay ba in terms of compatibility yung balak nating bilhin at yung existing natin. Okay. Another one, when you talk about the campus area network, we need to understand what are the offices involved. Okay. So sometimes in a campus, I'll divide na lang po, I'll divide into 3 parts. The administrative, andyan yung mga accounting, finance, ano pa po, HR, ayan. Yan yung po yung mga administrative natin. Then we have the academic, yan yung sa college natin, yan yung mga any offices and departments na involved ang academic. Then last is the student. Okay, so part of the university is yung mga estudyante natin. So knowing kung ano ang mga offices will help us to design our network. So bakit kaya? First is we have different rules that is involved. Some are very sensitive yung data. Nasa data privacy na tayo. No? Some, for example, yung accounting, there are lots of very important files na involved dun sa accounting or finance. And we need to understand kung ano yung mga limitations na meron dun sa mga offices na yon. And knowing the users is also a good help in order for us to design our network. Why? In a campus, most of the time is sabihin po natin na mga at least 5,000 ang ating users, kasama na yung student, staff, faculty, and yun, minimum po siya usually is 5,000 to 10,000 pa nga pag masyadong malaki yung university. So, we need to understand kung ano yung kung gaano kadami yung i-handle nating data. Or do we need to upgrade para malaman natin if mag-a-upgrade po ba tayo ng mga devices. Okay? So, and also the handled data. What are the processes that is involved in our campus? Most of the time, campus will handle mas maliit, I think. For example, is most of the time is processing of files, audio ngayon, because and video because we are in online. So most of the time we use video and audio in our university. Ano pa ang mga hinahandle nating data? Yung mga process, kung saan tayo kumukonek, gaano kalaki yung pinaprocess natin, such as if naka-house yung enrollment system ninyo sa inyong university, most likely ang traffic ay pag-enrollment system, ay pag-enrollment week or enrollment time ninyo, andun lahat ng process. So andun lahat ng traffic. So we need to understand ano yung mga ipaprocess natin when it comes to the function of our university. Okay. So as I said earlier, rules and regulations to be implemented. So when we talk about designing our own network, we need to understand ano yung mga rules or limitations na meron ang bawat part, as much as possible is, kumbaga especially yung mga medyo sensitive yung mga information. So like for example, si accounting or si finance, there are some information na very sensitive and kailangan din nilang i-share. Diba? Or yung enrollment system, kung naka-house po dun sa inyong university or campus, we need to know kung sino yung mga user. So such as college registrar, a cashier sometimes, and yung office of admission. So since magkahalo yung administrative and academic, what are the rules? Ano yung pwede mong gawin sa network mo na makikater yung mga ganong process? Okay? It will help you when designing your network and also to be more precise kung ano yung mga rules na ilalagay mo sa network. Okay. When we get our data, kung yung mga nakuha natin yung mga information na meron tayo, we go to the building your design. Okay. So one of the recommended today is we have our own structured cabling system. So structured cabling is a complete system of cabling and associated hardware, which provides a comprehensive telecommunication infrastructure. So medyo graduate na tayo dun sa, di ba, yung mga old school nun, especially pag nung nag-i-start pa lang yung network or hindi pa tayo ganun kumbaga hindi tayo masyadong nakafocus kung ano yung itsura ng network natin. Basta, okay, merong isang department sa kabilang room natin, lagyan natin siya ng cable, lagyan natin siya ng wireless access, tapos mukhang mga nakaparang sampayan yung mga cable natin. So, ngayon, I think it's not appropriate because habang tumatagal, dumadami yung user natin. So we do not want to be burdened dun sa pag nagto-troubleshoot tayo. If meron po dito na mga technical support or magiging technical support, it's really hard to troubleshoot kung hindi mo alam kung nasaan yung mga cable na kailangan mong tignan. Okay, so kung ganito ang itsura ng server room mo, baka mag-resign ka na. So yung instead of 1 day or baka 1 minute lang na pumalag lang yung cable mo, it will take days para lang hanapin yung problem na yon. So yun yung usually na nagiging problema natin dun sa unstructured. And also security. So hindi mo alam kung kumbaga nandyan lang, nakatabi lang yung mga devices mo, walang masyadong very prone sa mga static or something, mas nakakasira or mas malaki yung gastos kung ganun yung way natin. So we build up our design into a structured cabling para mas madali, not only for a network admin, but also for the user. Okay, madaling i-identify kung ano yung problem. And there are some structured cabling standard that we can use. Okay? If you will planning to build your structured cabling design, you can check this standard. So we have the 568A, most likely ito yung ginagamit natin for campus area. Nakalagay po dyan lahat ng ano yung pwede mong gamitin, device, what are the cables that is involved. And in 569, more on commercial space. 606 is for standard labeling of commercial building wiring. So standard labeling, kasama siya din sa pag-construct natin ng network. Labeling is very important for a technical support para mas madaling mahadap yung mga problem natin ay madaling i-troubleshoot. And the ISO. So medyo hindi na po natin i-discuss to dito kasi we have only 1 to 1.5 hour lang. But if you have time or kung gusto ninyo na sure na nakalagay siya sa standard, you can give this standard to your contractor, okay, para alam nila kung ano yung gusto ninyong mangyari dun sa network. Okay. Next is building a floor plan and a site map. So this is applicable to the sa mga designer na you need to have those floor plan and site map na ready for your contractor. So sometimes kasi kailangan po, 'di ba, sa government natin, kailangan natin ilista lahat ng kailangan natin na mga devices in order, and then magbibid, 'di ba? Yun po yung usually na ginagawa. And then yung contractor titignan, meron din silang site visit, but they need to know kung saan mo gustong ilagay yung mga devices or kung saan ilalagay yung mga ports. Why? Bakit kailangan na sa atin manggaling yon? Some of the users na meron silang mga syempre request. Okay, so for example dito, nandito yung Dean's Office for example. Syempre gusto niya malapit sa kanya kasi nandun yung computer niya, etc. So instead na mag-take pa ng time para lang i-site visit lahat, most likely is nakapag-design ka na. Okay. So meron tayong two parts. We have the between buildings and yung inside the building. Okay. Between buildings because we need to connect the different buildings when we have our design. So you need to understand kung ano yung mga needs na meron or gaano kalayo, ano yung gagamitin natin, etc. And for the buildings naman, internal cabling, kung saan natin ilalagay yung mga ports natin. So meron tayong 2 parts. In between buildings, you can use, this is I think a tip, or baka makatulong sa inyo because we are doing this, especially when we need to have an estimation. We use Google Map. Okay, so for example, I'll share it to you. Yan. If nakikita po ninyo yung Google Map. Okay. So for example is, you need to know kung gaano kahaba or kailangan mong gumamit ng UTP. Sorry po kung if medyo malabo po, ano na lang ako dito. If you need to know kung UTP ba ang gagamitin mo or fiber, you can check the distance. Okay. Alam po natin na ang UTP most likely is hanggang 80, actually maximum niya is 100, pero hindi natin minamax siya ng 800, ng 100, sorry. Most likely is 80 meters lang. So, if lumagpas siya, we need to check, do we need to use a fiber to connect each building. Okay. So here, pag kailangan namin ng estimation, we use Google Map. So how do we need to, or how do we use Google Map for estimation? For example, is nandito yung pinaka-central server mo. Yan, sample lang. Yan. Kunyari, nandito yung central server mo or nandito yung core network mo. Yan. And we need to connect the college at a new building na lang. New building ng College of Education. So, nung nag-site survey ka, nakita mo na yung mga poles na kung saan dadaan yung fiber ay nandito. Hindi pwede shortcut dito kasi mapuno dyan. Ayan, mga, if nagawi po kayo sa aming university, mapuno talaga siya. So, most likely, ang mga poles ay nandito. Ayan. So, if you want to check kung gaano kahaba or gaano yung distance, you can use this Google Map. Right-click nyo lang. Then measure distance. Ayan, measure distance. Then i-click dito, for example, kaya nandito yung pole. Ayan. So, meron tayong total distance na 148 meters na. So, hindi na pasok yung UTP. Then, nakita natin na nandito yung pole. So, we can have a distance here, papunta dito. Yan, sample lang. Yan, 173 na siya. Pupunta pa siya dito. So, pupunta tayo dito. Sample lang. Ayan. So, ang estimated natin is nasa 187 meters yung latag ng fiber. But, syempre, hindi tayo nagsasakto kasi nga, for estimation, maybe we can add 10 to 20%. Sabihin natin na 200 meters ng cable or ng fiber yung ating ilalagay. So, yan, at least in your budgetary plan, you can check or pwede mo na siyang gawan ng simple estimation kung gaano kalaki yung or gaano kahaba yung kailangan mong bilhin. Okay. Distance to here. Ayan. So makikita natin in this simple application or way, we can estimate our own or yung kung saan dadaan yung fiber. So we have different ways. Bakit kailangan natin to? We have different ways on how to build or to use the fiber. Pwedeng aerial, yun yung nasa poste, and underground. So if you have a big budget, you can use underground because it's much safe or safe siya kasi hindi siya masyadong maaapektuhan. Pag aerial, nakikita mo naman na kaya ng aerial and may mga poste ka naman, you can use the aerial part. And here, pwede din namin, nakikita din namin kung gaano ka, if gusto mo lang ng estimation, makikita mo dito kung gaano kahaba yung measure ng building. For example, kung balak mo dito na ilagay yung switch, tingnan mo dito, kaya 162 meters. So, kung meron ka pang rooms dito, hindi na masyadong aabot kasi yung kable mo kasi masyado nang mahaba. So with that kind of knowledge, you can adjust kung ano yung best na gawin dun sa iyong design. Okay. So maybe you can adjust the switch. Instead na hanggang dito yung fiber, kung may room ka pa dito, pwedeng dito mo ilagay yung switch and i-adjust ng konti yung fiber para mag-adjust yung cabling system mo and mailagay or malagyan hanggang dun sa dulo ng building. Okay. So those are the tips na pwede nyong gamitin. Testing din namin siya. So mas maganda na meron kang estimation kaysa yung pupunta yung contractor at hindi mo alam kung ano yung ibibigay mong design or hindi mo alam kung gaano kadami kalahabang kable yung kailangan mo. So I'll go back to my presentation. Inside the building is also important. So we can design our network or kung saan mo gustong ilagay yung wireless mo, kung saan port ang priorities, especially if you have a limited budget. For example, kailangan is meron lang tayong mga 10 ports lang per building. Yeah. So pwede mo tignan kung ano yung priorities because you can adjust naman through the use of access point. Yeah. When creating a design, so dito minimize number of network device in any path as much as possible is hindi natin masyadong or hindi natin ginagawa ng design na masyadong madaming o complicated kasi actually tayo din ang mahihirapan. So most likely is we can use this kind of diagram. Medyo familiar siguro na tayo when it comes to topology like star, ayan. So meron tayong star topology and yung mga daisy chain. Daisy chain is the connections of different devices na to each other. So meron tayong maganda siya for redundancy like this one. Or you can choose the star topology which is a very popular for when someone creating their own network. Kasi alam po natin, basta meron kang central device such as hub or switch, you can expand your network easily. Okay. So whether you are using those type of topology, it depends on your design or yung need. Okay. So kung hindi naman masyadong, syempre kailangan din natin ng redundancy. But if you wanted to have a simple connections na madaling i-expand yung network, you can use the star topology. So this is my recommendation, but sabi ko nga, bumabalik ako doon, it depends on your design kung ano yung need ng iyong network. Yan. These are the applications that we can use. You can use Visio, yan, when designing your floor plan. You can use the packet tracer. This is a Cisco base. You can practice your own the application kung paano ka mag-configure ng switch, and also you can design your own network. Or you can have a simple application, PowerPoint, if hindi naman ganun ka or kailangan lang ng contractor mo yung kung saan mo ilalagay yung nodes. Simple PowerPoint will suffice. So ito, we design it, simple design lang, kailangan lang kasi siya. So we use PowerPoint instead of the application. Maglagay-lagay ka lang dyan ng mga lines as long as naintindihan kung saan yung mga offices na kailangan mo lagyan ng mga nodes or ports and saan yung mga wireless na nakalagay, okay na po yan. Okay. But if you have time, you can use syempre yung mga ganitong application. Like here, ayan, sample lang. This is a Visio. So there are lots of drawing tools na pwede mong gamitin. Ayan. Kung gusto mo ng medyo mas maganda, kasi i-present mo siya, for example, you can use those applications na na available dun sa inyong university. Okay? Or you can use packet tracer, ayan. So mamaya, so you can use this for the simulation and also for building your own network. Okay. Yan. So, balik lang tayo dito. What will you implement? So, ano yung mga topology na pwede mong gamitin? There are lots of topologies that you can use. Pwedeng mag-hybrid siya. So, if you are very familiar with the topology, pwede na siyang mag-hybrid. Ayan. So, pwede niyong pagsamasamahin. As long as, for me, ako kasi is gusto ko ng mas madaling i-manage because ako din ang nahihirapan. So, the simpler, the better for me sa akin. As long as nakikater niya yung kailangan namin na design and also yung, kumbaga, ma-handle natin yung network. Okay, if you have a layer 3 switch, so it acts, yung tinatawag natin na layer 3 switch will act as the connection of our virtual LAN, because we need to have a layer 3 switch kasi we need to support protocols, inspecting packets, kung ano yung mga dadaan. If, di ba, meron po tayong rules kung very familiar kayo na yung mga ports na hindi natin ginagamit at very prone for the attack, you need to close it. So you can use the layer 3 switch to minimize yung mga ganun or to handle those kind of situation. Okay, so bakit kailangan natin ng layer 3? So these are some questions that you need to have a yes kung gusto mo mag-implement ng layer 3 switch. Do you have a VLAN in your network? So mag-i-implement ka ba ng VLAN? If some of the viewers is hindi masyadong familiar for the VLAN, virtual LAN is a function in the network na it can separate the network. Physically, magkaka-connect tayo, but virtually is magkakaiba tayo ng segment or ng network. So like for example, yung regular switch natin, yung mga nabibili lang natin na unmanaged switch, basta kumonect ka dun sa switch na yon, connected na tayong lahat. As long as nasa iisang network tayo. We can share files, ano pa? Ay, siguro yung mga nag-game dito, alam yon na basta meron tayong isang switch or meron kayong isang switch, then we connect our devices doon or laptops or computers so we can have a communication and network. So, but in a virtual LAN, through the managed switch na nabibili natin, so manageable yung switch, we can design or we can configure our switches na kahit na magkasama tayo sa iisang switch, hindi tayo nagkikita. Okay. So for example, if yung faculty, yung student, and admin ay nakakonect sa iisang switch lang, through the virtual LAN, kahit na is hindi pa rin kayo magkikita-kita. So ganun yung kinagandahan ng VLAN natin. Do individual departments need separate broadcast? Ayan, ito yung mga different, or these are the questions that you need to check in order for you to decide kung gagamit ka ng layer 3 switch. Ayan. So, some of the rules na meron tayo, as I said earlier, minimize the number of, this is from the University of Oregon, NSRC, minimize number of network devices in any path for ease of configuration or managing your own network. Use the hub and spokes configuration design pattern. For them, or there are many research na kaya madaling or madalas na ginagamit ang star topology because it's much easier nga to handle it. Segment your network with routers at the core middle. We will tackle that later. Provide the services near the core. para hindi naaabala, especially yung mga special services na meron tayo sa campus na kailangan ng more or mas mabilis na process, mas madaling malapit siya dun sa core para yung maybe the distance also will also have a big impact, and also it's much easier to handle kung kailangan nila or kung kailangan ng tulong ng mga services na yan. Think carefully about where to put the firewall and where to not. So, i-tackle natin yan later. So, these are the sample of VLAN as I said earlier. So, VLAN is a collection of device or network nodes that communicate with one another. So, parang nasa single lang kayo, but you are segmented. So, I can show an example of the simulation. This is a simple network design. Let's say this is the main. Ito yung main natin na network or core. Then there is a switch dun sa College of Fisheries and College of Engineering. So magkalayo yan. Usually yan, this is a fiber. If masyadong malayo yung distance. Then this switch ay may faculty dito at meron ding faculty dito. Okay. And some of the users ay students and admin. So through VLAN, and kung nakikita po natin, okay. So through VLAN, okay, I created a 3 VLANs, which is VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 30. VLAN 10 is for the faculty, and VLAN 20 is for the student. Okay. Hindi ko na masyadong ipapaliwanag yung way to configure it. Baka abutin po tayo ng hanggang alas 12. But ang pinaka-goal natin dito is to understand kung paano nag-work yung VLAN. So here, sa College of Engineering, 2 PC ang nakakonect dun sa switch. Sa isa is nasa VLAN 10, which so faculty then, and yung Ethernet 5 is VLAN 20. So this is, so we are on the same network. So we try to, since naka-VLAN na tayo, dapat ang makakapag-usap lang muna, okay, without the without the use of the router, yung local lang natin, is yung magkaka-VLAN. So I will try to ping yung IP nito, 1.4. Kung nakikita natin, ayan. So kung mapapansin po ninyo, kung nakikita yung command prompt, nagre-reply siya, meaning connected yung parehas na or sorry po. Connected parehas yung magkaka-VLAN. Let's try to ping this one. This is of a student VLAN. Kasama siya sa student VLAN. So I will share. This is 1.3. Ano ba ako 1.3? Yan. RTO siya. Let's wait hanggang mag-apat ng naman po. Ayan. Yan, okay. So, when I tried to connect dun sa 1.3, this one, which is iba siya ng VLAN number, hindi siya connect, although nasa iisang network kayo. Okay. So, the same with this one, ito ay faculty VLAN din. Sila lang ang nagko-connect. So this is ang kinagandahan when we implement those kind of functions. we can separate our network na hindi natin kailangan bumili pa ng magkakaibang switch in order for us to separate the users. Okay? So pwede natin gamitin yung mga VLAN or mga functions ng mga devices natin ngayon. So some of the technical is, ang mahirap po bang mag-configure ng VLAN? Okay. Madali ba siyang intindihin or to handle it dun sa device? Actually, it is a yes ngayon. Why? Because switches have already an interface, GUI. Okay, click-click ka lang. Okay, this is an Aruba switch and this is HPE. Okay, so you need, syempre kailangan natin ng konting configuration dun sa mismong command line ng switches nyo just to add an IP address para ma-access mo yung GUI. But if you already configure it, yung mga VLAN na yan, madali na lang siya because it provides a GUI interface. Okay? Mas napapadali ang buhay natin mga network, technical support, because hindi natin kailangan masyadong mag-configure via command prompt. But syempre yung mga sanay na is wala namang problema kung sa command line. But yun nga, if kailangan mo agad i-troubleshoot, tignan yung problem, you can use their GUI interface. At madali siyang maintindihan. Yun naman yung kinagandahan ngayon ng mga devices natin. Okay? And it's really fun to have pag kino-configure natin. I think that's why andito ako sa field ko na ngayon, because I really enjoyed it. Especially, di ba, kung yung mga programmer, tayo, di ba, nagpo-program din tayo. Nakakatuwa na gumana yung program ko. Di ba? Masaya tayo. The same with handling the network, na pag napagana mo or na pagana mo yung isang part ng network na hindi mo mapagana noon, feeling accomplished ka talaga. And also, kumbaga para kang nagbi-build ng puzzle eh. Continuous puzzle na since nag-i-improve yung mga threats, nag-i-improve yung mga problems sa network, ginagawan mo ng paraan, mini-mitigate mo na siya. So continuous improvement ng network yung ginagawa natin. Then we have what we call the core network. So this is a very interesting part of the study of NSRC. So core network, at the core of your network should be routers. You must route, not this switch. So kung mapapansin nyo dito, most likely yung nag-handle ng interface dun sa loob ng network natin is the core router. And yung border router is hinihiwalay nila. Why? Some of the study is to lessen the burden also of the border router or the core router, na lahat ng mga process is nandito lang sa iisang device. But through the use of the core router, dito mo hinahandle yung mga traffic na pumapasok sa loob. Okay. Like for example, for me in our network, we have the core router. Dito ko nilalagay yung VLAN. Okay, dito ko sineset up yung VLAN. Then dito rin mo kino-close yung mga ports na hindi mo need para for the security reasons. And siya yung ma-manage ng network dun sa loob. Okay, so it's much easier for the network na merong isang core router na nag-manage ng mga traffic na napupunta dun sa loob ng network mo. Okay. This edge network, so most likely is, or I think yung mga meron na pong network, I think this is very familiar to you na usually na ginagawa natin. So usually there is a handled managed switch. Then yung managed switch na yon is nakalink dun sa mga adjacent building natin. So meron tayong part dito na switch because like for us na medyo matagal na nag-start yung network, our devices consist of 4 fiber port. Okay. Then the rest is pang ano na yan, RJ45, yung pang UTP. Since we have a lot of buildings na i-connect, hindi kaya yung 4 ports lang. But there are switches ngayon na talagang 24 ports is fiber. So nakakatuwa. But noon, or dahil nga medyo malaki yung budget noon, so we tried to lessen muna kung ano yung kaya namin gawin. So through this edge network or through this managed switch, then dito na-connect lahat ng mga switches na meron sa iba't ibang building. Sometimes we have 2 to 3 switches na naka-aggregate. Okay. Para mag-down yung isa, madali mo lang, for example, nag-down yung switch or nasira yung port na pinagkukonektahan itong link na to. Ililipat ko lang yung fiber port sa kabilang switch. Gagana na agad siya. So yun yung kinagandahan ng meron kang redundancy. And it's very advisable na meron tayong redundancy because pag nag-down yung network natin, alam po natin, all the functions kung naka-centralize ay down lahat. So yun yung, and then kukulitin tayo ng ating mga boss. Kukulitin tayo ng, syempre, naaabala din sila. So yung burden din is nasa atin. Kailangan naka-up lagi. Okay? So kailangan tayong dapat na redundancy or plan B hanggang lahat ng plan. Meron kang plan B, plan C sa mga ganung type of the problem. Another one is adding a firewall. Okay. And also this is also an interesting na ano ng NSRC. I can give you the link. I think nandun sa mamaya sa reference ko. Where to put the firewall in our design. So this is the part kung saan ito yung most common, I think, na way on how to add a firewall. So security devices are often placed in line. So usually diyan natin siya nilalagay. Campuses often take a corporate strategy to firewall all their campus. So mostly of the time, filter lahat ng, or nilagay natin yung router dito to filter all na pumapasok dun sa network natin. Okay. So ito yung usual na corporate type ng kung saan natin nilalagay yung firewall. But there is an alternative. Bakit kaya nila ginawa ng alternative? In a corporate world, or mga private company, kung meron pong mga tiga-private dito, limited talaga yung kanilang process. So for example, kung call center man yan, talagang hindi sila makakapag-Facebook or talagang ang kaya lang nilang i-access is yung mga system na kailangan nilang gamitin. Okay? Kumbaga, very private yung mga kayang i-access lang over or in their company. That's why it's a good way na lahat ng na pumapasok dito is filter kasi limited lang naman. The problem with the campus, we have different types ng user. We have the student, we have the academic. Sa academic kasi is we always browsing. Okay, especially pag nagre-research tayo, we try to find or mahilig tayo mag-browse because we need to gather materials. So hindi masyadong limited or hindi kailangan limited na katulad nung dun sa corporate. The problem is pag masyadong, this is the study, the problem of doing like that is sometimes meron tayong hindi na-access na mga website. Siyempre yung valid website na because of the restriction. Okay. So it doesn't mean na mali yung ginawa or tinitingnan natin yung scenario ng campus and ng corporate. So ang nangyayari, ano ang ginagawa ng user? Isipin na lang natin kung connected ang student, faculty. Binak mo, for example, yung Facebook, example lang. kahit alam na ng user na nakablock yung Facebook, ano ang ginagawa ng user natin usually? Diba? Ang kulit natin. Tinatry pa rin natin i-request or bisitahin yung website and i-refresh yung ating page. So, anong nangyari doon? Instead na actually, since request pa rin siya, nakaka-apekto pa rin yun sa traffic because para siyang DDoS, para siyang denial of service na request, ang kulit natin, request ka ng request dun sa website na yan. Pero hindi nga pwede, pero we tried. I think meron sometimes ako ganun ako na, may ugali din akong ganun. Nagkakaroon ng part ng slow of network. Okay. And sabi ko nga, there are some websites na need nating i-access in an academe na hindi, sometimes pag masyadong limited yung na handle natin or na access natin, mas nahihirapan tayo mag-function. Okay? So there is an alternative suggestions na ginawa sila. Since firewalls don't really protect users from the virus, which is actually true because in terms of virus kasi, nasa sarili mo na yun, nasa user din yun kung ano yung ilalagay mo, ini-install mo. Ayan. Let's focus on protecting the critical server assets even from campus users. Okay, ano ba yung mga critical assets natin? Yan yung mga server natin that includes yung mga important data natin. Okay, or any servers na any type of assets dun sa campus mo. Okay, whether it is a data or anything, yun yung mga asset natin. You identify those assets and instead of putting it in your firewall in the whole part, you focus dun sa critical assets. Okay. Kung mapansin nyo dito, hindi na masyado ito because sabi nga, meron pa rin, but hindi na siya ganun nagfo-focus masyado dun sa user na walang masyadong asset eh. No? Pero kumbaga, we focus dun sa critical assets na meron yung campus natin. So, one of the good thing about this one is we maximize the utilization also of our bandwidth. Okay? If you have a bandwidth na malaki at kaya namang i-cater, why not? Why not gamitin ng buong university? Binabayaran din kasi natin yan eh. Or if you have yung kailangan mong i-limit, hindi na masyado compared dun sa critical assets mo. Okay. This is a very interesting part na instead na nababurden lahat na pinifilter niya na bumabagal yung network mo, you focus on the assets. Okay. So wireless links instead of fiber. So these are some network design from NSRC. So kung mapapansin natin, meron tayong border router, the core router, then ito yung mga fiber optic links natin. So ito yung ginawa nilang design. They focus on the servers, yung mga important part. And then kung kaya naman ng wireless links, pwede mo nang lagyan ng ganito instead of switches. Okay? There are lots of devices ngayon na kahit nga sa home network natin, di ba? For example, here sa bahay namin, medyo malaki yung compound and isa lang yung source ng internet namin. Then we try to have a wireless links na lang instead of the cable. It's much easier to handle. Maglagay ka ng access point kung kaya naman yung i-supply dun sa network na gusto mong lagyan. Okay? So there are lots of amazing design na pwede mong i-implement sa network mo. Here, if you are very familiar naman po dun sa, or about the demilitarized zone, which is they separate the servers na usually na kailangang i-access over the internet, such as yung DNS, yung web server natin, since kailangan over the internet yon, ano pa, email server or FTP. So instead that they add it in their internal network, they separate it. Okay. Bakit kaya? Bakit kaya ginagamit natin yung delimitize? Is if nakasama siya dito sa internal po natin, ang gagawin natin dyan, we open the port. For example, yung port for the web server, the port for the email server, yung most likely is yung attackers is pwedeng mag-spoof or mag-sniff dun sa port na naka-open and explore your internal network. So ang ginagawa ng iba, or I think very familiar yung iba dito na they separate it into a segment kung saan yung mga usually na kailangan talaga naka-open over the internet is hinihiwalay nila sa internal network para safe yung mga ibang assets natin. Okay. Yan. These are some firewalls that you can use. Okay. Well, sikat na sikat to. Sa mga medyo nagtitipid na mga nag-handle. Yan, pfSense is very popular. Until now, I think I searched it and siya pa rin yung top sa mga free. IP-Fire. Yan yung mga pwede natin gamitin kung wala pa tayong masyadong budget when it comes to paid firewall. And sa devices naman, yung hardware device, these are the top 10 that I checked. Yan, Bitdefender, yan. Those are the devices na pwede nating gamitin for the firewall hardware device. If meron tayong konting budget, you can use or you can check these hardware devices. Okay. So yung Palo Alto, ayan, I attended a training for this one, and it's a great firewall, madaling i-handle. Yan, mga yan. NetGate, Fortinet and FortiGate is very popular sa mga network admin when it comes to firewall devices. But medyo mahal kasi siya, alam natin yan, 70,000 to 100,000. So minsan, pag medyo kailangan na natin syempre ng firewall, doon tayo sa free. So then if dumating, i-implement natin. Okay. And lastly is documentation. Documentation is very important because we do not want na if we want to upgrade our network or we find the problems na nagpo-cause dun sa network natin, hindi natin maintindihan yung network natin because there's no documentation. Okay. We practice, even the slightest problem or configuration na binago natin sa network, we document it. Or yung mga problems na na-encounter natin, we document it. Para kung ano naman ulit yun, madali na natin siyang masusolusyonan. Okay. Documentation can be pwede mong kunin yan actually sa contractor mo. You can demand na syempre, sila ang nag-set up ng network infra. You need to have their documentation as well as yung testing kung gumagana ba yung port. Okay. So, pwede yan, kasama yan dun sa documentation. And yan, devices to be used. Very familiar tayo yan, fiber optic. Make sure lang na you are ang device na or yung mga devices or mga equipment na gagamitin mo is compatible dun sa iyong gagamitin, okay, ng mga cables, ayan. So, meron tayong SC to LC, yung mga ports, ayan. So, make sure na titignan natin lagi yan. UTP for our internal network, most likely gagamitin natin yan for internal network. Routers, yes. If you have a budget, you can use Cisco. And it's very familiar tayo dyan. And ang kinagandahan lang ng mga device yan is the documentation over the internet. Yung forum nila is very lively. may mga makapupulot kang mga new information, or any routers na available, 𝒂𝒂𝒃, ano pa ba yung mga sikat na mga devices ng router. Anyways, those are the things na pwede mong or you need to have dun sa iyong network. Managed switch. Yes, it is advisable to use a managed switch instead of unmanaged switch. If bumabalik tayo sa budget, if you have budget, because you can use it as a simple switch lang, or you can use it as a managed switch na nagki-cater ng virtual LAN, ayan, or pwede mong i-limit kung ano yung mga problems ay ng mga access ng iyong mga user. Another one is the access point. Okay, ay balik lang ako dito sa managed switch. So very important to know kung very compatible yung existing mo dun sa bibilin mo. There are some devices na although parehas lang naman siya ng concept, hindi naman nagbabago ang concept ng VLAN. Sometimes there are process or functions na hindi nagwo-work, or dahil nga siguro magkaiba sila ng operating system na ginagamit, whether it is a firmware or etc. So you need to check muna kung compatible yung mga devices. And access point, yan, is very important kasi especially if you have a lot of users, there are lots of amazing technology ngayon ng mga access point natin, which is, di ba, I cannot remember kung ano yung pangalan ng device, but we put the access point into one building, 2 to 3 access point, and then instead of hiwa-hiwala yung management niya, isa na lang, then if yung user is connected dun sa isa, kahit lumipat siya dun sa kabilang connection, automatic po connect siya. So parang one manage siya. Parang yung mga devices, yung Apple device, di ba? Basta kumonek ka dun sa isang network or Wi-Fi, yung ibang devices mo din na Apple, I think, is you design your network or your own distribution room to handle those devices, whether it is a server or a switch. Maganda yung meron kang sarili nga for security reasons also. As much as possible, if we have a budget, we put a rack dun sa distribution room natin. It's much easier to handle. And also, I forgot to add in this one, yung mga UPS, importante po yan. Isama natin yan sa budget natin para hindi nasisira agad yung ating mga device. Kasi ang mahal po talaga, di ba? And some intermediate distribution room para meron tayong connections from the outside, very, kumbaga, safe and maayos. Okay? Yeah, networking team. This is an example ng aming set way. Yan, meron kaming bagong distribution room, racks, yan, and fiber. Yan, you manage. So meron tayo pag yung mga network admin dito, mga technical, kailangan natin i-manage din yung pagkakabit. So tingnan kung maayos ba, kung saan dadaan, kasama sa ating trabaho yan. And very exciting pag meron kang mga bagong device na ikakabit. Yan. That's it for the network, and I do hope that I provide you some useful information. And if you have question, please do na chat, or if you have some questions about the networking basics. Thank you po. Thank you for listening.
Ayun. Thank you, Ma'am Anazel, for very informative networking designs. So Everyone, open na tayo for questions po. You can just message us here on chat here in Zoom or via live, okay? So any questions, everyone? Okay, mukhang si Sir Carlo ata may tanong po, Ma'am Anazel. Sir Carlo, go ahead po.
Morning po, Ma'am Anazel.
Yes po, good morning
Ayun
po.
po, personal question lang po dahil tungkol po dun sa connection sa bahay. Kasi po, di ba,
Yes, sir.
yung main router po namin nasa sala sa first floor. Tapos
Yes po.
nilagyan ko po siya ng isa pang router papuntang second floor.
Opo.
Okay lang po ba na lagyan ko pa po ulit ng isa pang router from sa second floor na router papunta sa third floor or hindi na po siya advisable na gawin?
Actually, sir, pwede naman siya as long as dun kung na-try niyo, sir, or since nakapag-set up na po kayo dati. If yung router na ginagamit po ninyo is can cater na magkaroon pa ng additional access point, wala naman pong problema. Siguro in terms of the connection, syempre, hindi na po siya ganun kabilis. Although, kaya pa naman, okay. Pwede nyo sir, as long as kaya nung device or capable yung device, wala naman pong problema.
Bale, wala naman pong limit yung pwedeng i-connect basta kaya pa po.
Yes, sir. But syempre, sir, if medyo malayo na, pero I think third floor naman lang, sir. Ano? Kung third floor lang naman, I think kaya naman, sir, i-cater.
Ayun, yun lang naman po. Thank you po.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Sir Carlo. Ma'am Anazel, may isa pa po tayong question from Marvin J. Atienza. Sabi niya, hello po, my question is, ano po yung mga entry-level certifications na marirecommend nyo for students na gusto mag-focus ng career on the future sa network administration? Thank you po. Yun, nawala ata si Ma'am Anazel. Ma'am Anazel?
Ay, sorry po. Pala. Actually, first is I advise in my own experience to know kung ano yung gusto mong i-target na field. When it comes to network administration, there are lots pwedeng ding mag-focus ka with the Cisco, which is yung CCNA. Okay, yung mga CCNA natin, there are, kumbaga, pag take ka ng isang certification, tas meron ulit ka sunod, parang entry level, ayan. So, CCNA is advisable for dun sa kung gusto mo mag-focus dun sa mga switch, ay sa mga Cisco devices. There are some devices, for example naman yung Azure or sa Microsoft naman siya. So, if gusto mong, ang focus mo is to master naman yung mga Microsoft devices and network infrastructure through the use of the Microsoft, you can use the Microsoft certification. Okay? Entry level, I think, kaya. Okay? It's about practicing and also review. Okay? So, iba't iba yung pwede mong i-target. Students, kahit students kayo can take those exams. There are some certification naman na if you wanted to master naman yung Linux or yun nga, Linux, meron mga certification din. So it's more on what is your goal kung saan mo gustong i-master yung sarili mo. Based on my experience kasi, most of the company today is hindi na uso yung ano ba tawag doon sa alam mo lahat? Ano man tawag natin doon? Yung kumbaga master ka dito. So most of the company, sorry na unstable na yung internet ko. Most of the company, they want na meron ka talagang isang imamaster. But doon sa tanong, you can do those certifications even though you are in an entry level. The goal, practice. Okay? May mga simulation, or if may mga devices ka dyan, you can practice your skills. Yun po. Thank you. I hope I help.
Yun. Thank you, Ma'am Anazel. Meron pa tayong question po from Jeffrey Samarita. Ano po ang pinagkaiba ng network infrastructure at cloud infrastructure?
Okay. Network infrastructure from the word itself, actually part structure yung cloud. The difference lang is instead of naka-house dun sa iyong network or university, for example, campus, naka-cloud siya lahat, naka-up siya lahat over the internet. So yan yung binibigay na mga services ng Microsoft such as Azure, kasi that's why maganda ang cloud services if you have a budget, because very if sure 9 or 99.95% na mag-down man yung isang data center nila, meron agad kapalit. So hindi agad-agad siya nagda-down. So agad na nag-a-up yung kabilang data center, or i-up nila agad yung mga server mo dun sa kabilang data center kasi meron silang backup. Okay. So I think yun yung it's not more on defense but kung paano kinikater yung network mo, o paano mo sineset up yung network mo.
May follow-up question si Sir Geoffrey, Ma'am Anazel. Ano po ang kailangan kong pag-aralan muna? Ang networking o cloud computing po? Nanghihingi siya ng suggestion from you po, ma'am.
Yes. Mukhang interested si Sir Geoffrey. Networking, I think it's you need to start with the networking because andun yung pinaka-base nung need mo na knowledge when it comes to the cloud. You need to understand what are the device or the standard, the devices na meron ang network in order for you to understand kung paano sineset up yung cloud computing or yung cloud natin sa network infrastructure natin. So, una is try to, if you are interested or gusto mong kumuha ng mga courses, you start with the basic networking. Actually, I'm not sure kung medyo advanced itong tinuro ko, but yung simple connection lang, simple understanding kung paano nagko-connect yung mga devices, I think you need to start with that.
Thank you, Ma'am Anazel. I hope, Jeffrey, medyo naging clear sa'yo and mapag-isipan mo kung ano yung gusto mong pag-aralan din muna talaga. Ma'am Anazel, we have another question po from Ronnie Magpuri. Okay lang po ba kung kapos po yung wire na ginamit namin tapos dinugtungan na lang po pero nakahinang naman po using UTP cable po?
Sorry. Ma'am, pwedeng pakiulit? I think medyo na-disconnect ata ako. Can you repeat the question?
Okay po, Ma'am Anazel. From Ronnie Magpuri, sabi niya po is, okay lang po ba kung kapos yung wire na ginamit namin tapos dinugtungan na lang po pero nakahinang naman po using UTP cable po?
Okay, that is a very fun question. Kasi ganyan kami nung college. Okay. Start pa lang kami. But for me now, advisable na maghinang kung UTP cable it's much easier kung pwedeng palitan na siya ng buo. I think it's more on, meron na syempre pag naghinang ka kasi there are some, kumbaga medyo na, meron mga konting disturbances na dun sa wire because, but this is my advice that kung kayang palitan na lang. Thank you.
Ayan, para maiwasan din yung mga noises, ano po?
Yes,
mga signals natin.
Saka, actually, naranasan din namin yan dito, mga nitong nakaraan na ang tagal naming pinaprocess, but at the end of the day, we pinilitan namin yung kable at gumana na siya. So, yan.
Yun, mukhang madaming interested dito sa topic natin, ma'am, kasi mayroon pa tayong question from Christian Villa Salazar. Paano po kung nagkamali yung pagkoconnect sa mismong switch?
Ano kaya ang ibig sabihin ni Sir?
Siguro ano yung magiging effect or ano yung dapat yung gawin para matama yon?
If yung term ni Sir is to connect the switch, I'm not sure kung yun yung ganito yung way ni Sir. For example, kung sinaksak mo siya sa switch at naka-VLAN siya, we go back dun sa VLAN at naisaksak mo, for example, yung student, dapat na cable ay nasaksak mo dun sa faculty, na cable, na port ng VLAN niya, most likely is magkakaroon ka ng problem because if kayang nilagyan mo ng konting limitations lang yung kayang i-access dun sa, or merong mga free na kayang i-access dun sa faculty, yun yung nagiging problem. That's why labeling is very important and documentation is very important for you to know, okay, itong port 20 hanggang 23 ay para sa student. So, kung lalagay ka ulit ng panibagong access point, for example, madaling ma-identify kung ano yung, kung saan mo isasaksak yung panibagong cable. Okay. Kung ang question ni Sir is na mali o nasaksak, wala naman pong problema. Okay, I think there will be no problem with that because we use switch as to expand our network. So I think walang wrong sa pagkakabit, but pag meron na siyang manage na katulad ng VLAN, I think doon lang po magkakaproblema.
Thank you, Ma'am Anazel, for the explanation. We have one last question po from Mikoy. Ma'am, except po sa budget and location, ano po ba yung basic na need natin i-consider sa pagde-design ng network? And saang devices po tayo pwede magtipid if limited ang budget?
Okay. I think unang kino-consider namin when we design our network is yung priorities. If you will assign for a task na i-design yung buong network infrastructure ng university mo, you need to know the priorities, what are the departments, offices na ipa-prioritize mo dun sa budget na meron ka. For you to, for example, most likely, ngayon, medyo pwede mong ihuli ng konti yung pang-student because wala pa naman masyadong student ngayon dahil tayo po ay naka-quarantine or nasa home base tayo lahat, most of the student. So you can prioritize yung mga nagpa-process ng data outside. So maybe yung mga administrative, or sa academic naman, syempre yung mga faculty is pumapasok na. So pwede mong unahin yung mga yon. So priorities is very important. When it comes to the devices, it depends. Okay, but kami, ang importante sa amin is also the compatibility. We already have our devices such as HP. Nasanay na kaming gumagamit ng HP na devices for the switches. So we try to put, although ang device naman ngayon medyo pababa eh. Parang cellphone lang yan eh. Bumababa yung presyo. So kung kaya mong bumili ng devices na halos parehas or upgraded version lang siya ng device na meron ka, for me, yun doon na lang ang bilhin mo. Okay, like for example, kami, sabi ko nga po, nasanay na kaming i-configure yung HP. So when we purchase, most likely is yun po yung ipo-purchase namin. Siyempre, yung mga upgraded version na. So yun po.
Ayun. Ma'am Anazel, mayroon pa tayong mga follow-up question. May mga humahabol. Sabi ni Ma'am Regine, saan po nakakakuha ng Cisco certificate at Microsoft certificate po?
Okay. Meron po silang online ngayon. Pwede po kayong pumunta sa Certiport. May Certiport doon na you can purchase a voucher para dun sa exam. Or there are lots of companies. Actually, dati yung first ko na certificate, I took it sa Manila pa. So pumunta pa ako doon. So may mga testing center po sila na nagki-cater ng ganung mga certificate. So you can check online sa Certiport or yung mga company na or mga testing center na pwedeng online na ngayon. Usually kasi online na ngayon eh. Ang advice ko din sa mga gustong mag-take is kung kaya mong mag-bootcamp, you can use or you can have a bootcamp. So for example, sa Cisco meron silang mga bootcamp na talagang kung gusto mong humawak ng mga devices, but I'm not sure kung ngayon is applicable pa siya ngayon, kung meron silang standard na sinusunod. You can have a bootcamp na talagang ipapractice nila kayo kung paano gamitin yung mga devices na yun. So yun pa.
Ayun. And then, from Zen, Ma'am Anazel, effective po ba gamitin yung load balance router?
Yes, actually load balancer is very effective, especially if you have, di ba, for example, is 2 or more internet ISP. Yan. So sa ISP, kung meron kang dalawang ISP using the load balancer, nababalance in a way yung mga traffic na pumapasok dun sa network mo. So I think it's a good way to have a load balancer in your network, especially for those process or if masyadong madaming process traffic na pumapasok dun sa network mo. So yun po.
Ayun. Thank you, Ma'am Anazel. Ma'am Anazel, si Geoffrey mo ang sobrang interested sa topic mo. Nag-ask siya ng ano daw po yung masasuggest mong website na free kung saan sila pwede maka-learn ng networking po.
Okay, ano na nga ba yung pinupuntahan ng student ko? I think Coursera is there are may mga free sila, meron ding paid. Hindi ko maalala yung government na nagbigay ng parang voucher para dun sa mga yung mga pwede nilang i-take ng free and magkakaroon ng certificate. So may mga meron mga ganong part yung government na nakakuha yung ibang student, naalala ko, mga estudyante na ganon. But Coursera is good. Networking, actually kung medyo nagtitipid ka naman, pero when it comes to certificate, kailangan mong pumunta sa mga ganun type ng website na meron. And or one good advice is to join in an organization, maybe na nagkikater ng students or professionals na nagbibigay ng mga free. Okay. It's also good in your resume or CV na meron kang organization, and there are organization na nagbibigay talaga ng mga free voucher for those certification. So try to find those kind of organizations na pwede. Yun po. Thank you.
Ayun, sobrang dami rin naman pala talagang available online. no?
Yeah.
On where we can learn it for free na po. Bale ma'am, sa tingin niyo po ba anong mas on-demand na job today? Networking or cloud computing?
Part ng networking si cloud computing. So, kasi pag ikaw ay naging network admin, kung network admin ka ng isang organization, ay kasama sa job mo na i-manage yung cloud. So for example, nag-purchase yung company mo ng cloud, kasama yon dun sa i-manage mo. So actually part ng job natin to manage it. So akala ko itatanong is anong mas demand ngayon, yung network admin or systems, yung programmer. But overall, so yun pa, part ng job natin yan.
Parang integrated sila sa isa't isa, ano po?
Oo, yes, apa.
Yun, ma'am. Parang yun naman na din lahat ng questions natin. Thank you, Ma'am Anazel, for entertaining lahat po ng questions natin via Zoom and Facebook Live po. Thank you, Ma'am Anazel, and thank you everyone for sharing your questions with us. And I think in regards to that, because of the discussion today, we wanted to appreciate Ma'am Anazel Gamila via providing a certificate of recognition. Okay, this is from DICT, Department of Information and Communications Technology. This certificate of recognition is awarded to Anazel P. Gamila in grateful recognition of her invaluable support as resource speaker during the webinar entitled Networking 101 Basic Campus Design Concept of the Technology Empowerment for Economic Development or Tech for Ed program of the Department of Information and Communications Technology, Luzon Cluster 2, given this 8th day of October 2021, and it is signed by our Regional Director, Engineer Reynaldo TC. Thank you very much, Ma'am Gamila.
Thank you po. And I do hope that may natutunan po kayo and I am part or I share the knowledge that I have. So thank you po for inviting me. And thank you sa mga umattend po. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Gamila. And then for our closing remarks for today's webinar, I wanted to welcome you all, our Technical Operations Division Chief, Engineer Petronilo 𝑭𝑹𝑬𝑬. Good morning po, Sir Nilo.
Hi, good morning, Ma'am Nena. Thank you. And good morning, everyone. First and foremost, in behalf of our Regional Director, Engineer Reynaldo C., our sincerest gratitude and appreciation, especially to our resource speaker, Ma'am Anazel. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with a very comprehensive presentation regarding Network 101, Basic Campus Design Concept. And we hope you will be with us again for the coming webinars similar to this topic. And of course, to my team in the ICT, Mr. Carlo, to you, Ma'am Niena, to Ma'am Roma, and also staff from Laguna. Thank you so much for all the support and making this webinar successful. And of course, to the most, to our attendees in this webinar, I believe you enjoyed it and learned a lot from our resource speaker. And with this webinar, hope it helped you in accomplishing your work well as regard to this networking. So with that, again, good morning, everyone, and let's keep safe always. Thank you.
Good morning, Sir Nilo. Thank you po for the closing remarks. Ayun, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you all learned something today. And may we just request everyone to fill out the post-evaluation form. This is the link. We will also post this on chat and Facebook Live. Just please ensure in accomplishing the post-evaluation form, please make sure to input your correct email address and your complete name. It will be open until 4 p.m. tomorrow. Certificates will be issued at least 1 to 2 weeks after the event. So, okay, here's the evaluation link. Please fill it out. So thank you all for joining us today. See you again in the next webinar and God bless us all.
Photo ops po.
Documentation na ba tayo? Photo ops?
Photo ops po, Ma'am Nina.
Oo nga pala. Everyone, baka pwedeng mag-open tayo ng mga cameras natin today para sa photo ops pala. Thank you, Sir Carlo, for reminding me po. Hi, everyone. Ayan, kita na namin kayo.
May lang po kayo. 4 pages po ito.
Thank you, Sir Carlo.
Two pages pa po. Wait lang po.
Good morning, everyone. Ayun, sana may natutunan kayo today and sana join na rin kayo sa mga next webinar ng Tech for Ed programs ng DICT Luzon Cluster 2. Lagi naman din kami nagpo-post sa aming mga Facebook pages. Just follow us din po. Thank you po, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, everyone. God bless us all and keep safe po. Thank you.
Sige po.
Bye-bye.